2025 is officially here, and there's several wild cards that can impact the housing market in a major way. Let's take a look at our top 10 housing wild cards for 2025. Lenders, leaders.
This is a major.
Teams, meetings with. That's where. Let's start off with 2024 closed with the fewest existing home sales since 1995. Team, we sold more homes during the Great Recession than we did last year. That's a wild stat and the main driving factor as to why there's so many realtors and lenders that have left the business. But the good news is, by the sheer nature of our population growth and housing demand, it will certainly improve and get better from here. Even with the housing wildcards that we're about to discuss, the most conservative estimates are about a 20% boost in business and opportunities for both realtors and lenders. Which brings me to our top 10 list in no particular order. Number one, and this one might be the most important on the list, is obviously interest rates. We've studied several different economic projections and housing forecasts for 2025 to make this show, and almost all of them have a 6%-ish interest rate baked in for 2025. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. As you'll see from the show, there's so many wild cards this year that can impact this and either drive up or slow down business. I do believe 6% is the likely average for the year, but I also believe that both 5 and 7% are very possible outcomes as well. Would not surprise me to see either of those numbers this year, and quite frankly, maybe even both. Not a great start to the year. Only a few weeks in, we could see 7s in Q1 and maybe 5s much later in the year towards Q3 and Q4. But if you're playing along at home, this year, 6% is the Mason-Dixon line, and housing will either slow above it or thrive below it. Number 2 is jobs and employment. As we film this show, January 10th, the jobs report literally just came out and proved exactly why we have this on our top 10 wildcard list, because it came out strong today and sent rates higher and stocks lower. And I'm glad we had this on the list. You guys are already seeing why with this jobs report. Now, our good friend Barry did an amazing job speaking to this last week during his 2025 forecast. This was a members only event and well worth the membership price. Head over to MBS Highway to listen in and get your slides. He made some great points about the previous jobs report revisions and the fact that they were way overstated by 1.25 million jobs, basically off by 100,000 jobs per month. This is a major wild card to watch this year as these real numbers catch up and make an impact on interest rates and thus housing. Great job by Barry and the MBS Highway team gathering all those facts and explaining the impact they will have on our industry. Number 3 is simply global weakness. It really is a global economy now. If overall weakness continues throughout the world, it will put downward pressure on rates. Number 4, deregulation. Now, guys, regulations are important, but one could argue that we have too many and it's slowing down builders and lenders and banks and everyone in between. The permit cost and delays are costly to consumers and only drive up home prices and exacerbate our existing housing affordability crisis. Removing some of those roadblocks will be helpful for all of us this year, and we're already seeing the impacts here in my home state of Washington. It'll be a welcome change to see nationwide. Number 5, GSE privatization. Will Fannie and Freddie be taken out of conservatorship? Elon and the new cabinet are already talking about this and the removal of the CFPB. These are certainly major wildcards to watch in 2025, and they will have a massive, massive impact either of those things happen. But that brings me to number 6 quickly, which is big ideas and big ideals like this are not easy to execute. So while there's a lot of talk around the CFPB and the GSEs, making a massive change like this would take a ton of work. So the old adage kind of rings true here, maybe easier said than done. Number 7, demigration. If that's a word, I'm not really sure. But the demigration effect post-COVID and the back-to-work mandate for major companies are already in effect and forcing people's hands that moved out of state believing they could work from anywhere. We're already seeing people move back to their home states because of this. Interesting wildcard to watch this year, and it will impact housing as they have to sell and buy again. Number 8, inflation. And guys, I know I'm sick of it too. I hate hearing about inflation. We heard about it all last year. It really should just be a drinking game at this point, but it is still relevant and the main driver of the economy. Controlling inflation is the Fed's gas pedal or brake pedal. If we can't tame it, rates will rise. If we can't get it under control, rates will at the very least stay competitive in the 6s and could go lower if the economy inflation cools. Number 9, the locked-in effect. Will we finally unleash the massive amounts of pent-up demand in housing in 2025? I hope so, because it's going to be massive when that dam breaks. Just look at how much equity is stored right now as we collectively sit at a 55% loan to value. $35 trillion in equity just begging to get pushed back into the market. Finally, number 10, and one of the biggest wild cards for housing in 2025, the new cabinet coming in. Not just the president, but the entire new cabinet full of new and familiar faces. Many of them are not career politicians and will bring a new approach and new strategies to many things: health, budgets, trade, education, regulation, taxes, and yes, housing. Whether you love these guys or hate them, know that they love our business and want lower rates and will push for affordable housing, and they don't mind trying new things to help us get there. I don't know about you guys, but I got my popcorn out for 2025. This is a fun and spot-on show to start off 2025. As you can see, we have some massive wild cards to watch this year, and all can and will impact our business. This is a great show to play and start off your team meetings with. Owners, leaders, managers, play it and then discuss it all with your team as you plan to take over 2025. Let's go get it.